What up, y'all? It's fucking Test Dummy 22 in this bitch, and we're gonna talk a little bit about Big HooDoo and the whole new song thing. And man, I just, what? It's not. All right, let me try to put this at you as best as I can. All right, it's not that I think Big HooDoo is a bad decision by Psychopathic. I don't think that they really have much choice. All right, they're just scraping right now, trying to find something that can replace Twisted. Now we all know Big HooDoo ain't ever gonna replace something as epic as fucking Twisted. I bet you if you looked at the pre-order sales of Twisted's new mixtape, you could probably combine the sales of A World Upside Down and Big HooDoo's album and still wouldn't beat out the number of sales that Twisted has on their new mixtape. And that's the fucking truth. And you know what? On top of that, how about you add the sales for the Purple Gang album as well, and you still probably wouldn't match the numbers that Twisted has coming on their new mixtape. I'm just saying, real recognizes real. You know what I mean? And skill sells. And that's something that Psychopathic is completely lacking. And I think we all know the reason. It's internal, okay? It's something at Psychopathic Records that's completely internal. We're going to get into this in some future videos because I think a lot of people are under this illusion that, they are this, great corporation that has these wonderful ideas, but we all see that in the past year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever, it's went from being, all these super dope ideas to kind of just, meh, I responded to a post on Facebook, and I think, I don't know if I mentioned this on my YouTube channel, but if I did, then I'm going to do it again. Somebody was talking about what you think of ICP going and doing the Fuse show. Well, I don't think it's such a bad idea, but here's the thing. There's things that you guys could do other than the Fuse channel that Juggalos would love a lot more. Like, wouldn't you rather see ICP in, like, B-rated horror movies? Or, like, coming out with horror movies that reflect shit that they, their past Joker cards and stuff. Doing, like, little skit, like they did on Bowling Balls, but doing it with, like, all their old Joker cards and maybe some of the more popular tracks, like Dead Body Man and some of the bigger, well-known tracks, doing these short B-rated flicks starring ICP and Psychopathic Records. I mean, you have all these characters. You got the Boondocks, the fucking Scarecrow. Now you got this Big HooDoo guy. You got Violent J and Shaggy, and you got, ABK, the Native Warrior, and, you could think of some awesome thing to do, like some type of B-rated movie or, like, television show, like a Juggalo TV show or something, that, like, could fucking be so much doper. The dopeness could be just crazy, and Juggalos would eat that shit up. Now, why hasn't an idea like that ever been tossed out at Psychopathic Records? Well, I'll tell you why. I'm pretty sure an idea like that has arisen at Psychopathic Records, but they didn't do it. And I'll tell you why, because they have people there who are hired to not really do much. They're hired because of their stupidity, because Violent J wants control of everything. He doesn't want somebody in there who's, smart and making these great ideas and stealing the spotlight. Fuck no. Violent J wants recognition. He wants, he wants the ideas to be his ideas and everything's his brain. And, let's fucking face it, his ideas sometimes are fucking stale. Now, that's not my fucking area. I don't give a shit. It's your business. You own it. It's fucking yours. You can do whatever you want with it. But the fact of the matter is Juggalos have invested so much time and money and devotion to Psychopathic Records and that Hatchet Man. So to see it all just dissipate because of some big-headed motherfucker just really pisses me off. Dude, I love Violent J to death. I've always thought he was one of the most, you know, he's like a fucking mastermind, like a genius, you know what I mean? I hail to him. I mean, honestly, I believe that somewhere in his mind he can find whatever used to influence him, whatever used to spark him needs to come back. Because whatever is influencing and sparking him right now is not enough. Okay? It's just something's wrong. I don't know if it's Sugar Slam. I don't know if it's the kids. I don't know if it's family life. I don't know if it's Billy Bill being, you know, I don't know if it's Akuma, which I've heard things about him and how he's kind of like a pushover, and, you know, I'm not going to get into it. What I'm saying is there's internal problems at Psychopathic Records, and I think one of the main internal problems is they can't just hire somebody with good ideas and follow some new direction. I honestly think that they need to get back on a path, and once they do that, that's when Psychopathic will be reborn. And this Big HooDoo thing is just another passerby. It's just another guy who's going to come out and make 2 albums. And you know what? If he makes 3 albums, it's not going to make a fucking difference, because by the 3rd album, Juggalos aren't going to be feeling it as much anyway. There's no way that this weak ass, and no fucking offense, man, I think Big HooDoo's okay. Alright? I really do. But I just don't think he has enough power. I don't think he has enough delivery power to have longevity at Psychopathic Records. You know, he just seems like another toy, like another mediocre fucking rapper that they're going to use and then toss away to the side one day, or, you know, they'll leave or whatever. I mean, you just never know what's going to happen with Psychopathic. I mean, look at Blaze and ABK and the potential that both of those artists have. Blaze, I think, more than ABK personally, but, you know, ABK is just as good, just his own style. But these 2 guys have the potential to do really great things. I mean, Blaze's voice is something that I would compare to like not like sounding like Tupac or Biggie, but it's that special quality. He stands out among everyone else. He has this special thing, like a DMX has that special sound to his voice, you know. It's artists like that, Busta Rhymes and Eminem, they have this, you know, style and this sound that makes them stand aside from the rest. With something like that, Blaze could take his career to the top with the right people backing him. But since Psychopathic has backed him, they keep him where he belongs. They don't want him growing, just like they don't want ABK growing, just like they are not going to want Big HooDoo growing. Therefore, Big HooDoo will never do anything. Just like Twisted was on the label for how many years and never really surpassed ICP, even though their talent was well past ICP in the first couple years of them on the label. Everybody knew that Twisted had much more lyrical talent, much more creativity, much more everything. But did they ever surpass ICP? Fuck no. And you know why? Because they run the label. And Jay will never have that. And as soon as Jay sees somebody that is better or has super amounts of potential, he will try to bury that potential and try to make sure it does not have. And that's sad, because I think for a label to want to grow and actually want to take off, that they would encourage groups like Twisted, you know, give them more promotion. Just take a step back and admit, hey, maybe we're not, you know, God's fucking gift to Juggalos. You know, ICP's the shit. They always fucking will be. Who doesn't like going to an ICP show? What they did in the 90s is unsurpassed. No one will ever be able to match that. But let's face it, now in this day and age, ICP's not doing the things that they were doing. It's time for them to pass the torch. The torch should have went to Twisted. It didn't go to Twisted. Twisted had to take it in their own hands and move on, just because of the greediness of Violent J. That's why they had to leave. You know, Billy Bill, whatever. I don't know the whole story, but, you know, that's what it is, people. And you guys sit here and put these people up on pedestals and don't really know what you're talking about. There's so much going on behind the scenes, and we've talked about this before. Other Juggalos on YouTube have talked about this before. The curtain. Oz? Do you really want to see what's going on behind there? Because if you really saw, you might change your entire motherfucking outlook on everything. But I really think that it's worth it to juggalos to know what's going on. I think it's worth it for them to understand that this is a label that no matter what is done, unless they would do a complete 360, is on its way down. Every big corporation, everything that was once big, what goes up must come down. You understand? This is a decline in Psychopathic Records. We are here witnessing a decline. And seeing things like the Purple Gang, Cold 187, Big HooDoo, these are scratches, people. Scratches trying to claw their way back, but they have nothing to claw their way back to because they have nothing good. The only thing they have good is ICP, and ICP's putting out mediocre half-ass music. And they're not connecting with juggalos the way they used to connect with juggalos. They've abandoned that. They've abandoned the connection. Sooner or later, some of you people are going to wake the fuck up. I'm not sitting here saying that I'm not a juggalo. I'm dropping the hatchet, anything like that. I have faith in these guys, and I'm hoping to God they get their shit together. But let's fucking face it, let's not fool each other and start making these videos about, ICP, this, that, and the other. People saying that what I'm saying is hating. It's not hating. I'm calling it like it is. I'm calling it like I see it. I'm sorry that I see the truth and some of you just can't. It's not my fucking fault, alright? I'm not going to sit up here and I'm not going to up-talk shit that obviously has problems. I've been talking about this ever since Twisted left. I'm not going to stop talking about it until some of the problems start to work themselves out. Big HooDoo is not your answer. I promise you that. Big HooDoo is not going to come in here and completely change Psychopathic. It wasn't even Doe Doubler's idea to be Big HooDoo. It was Violent J's, and you know it, I know it, we all know it. You need to just open up your eyes a little bit and understand that what's going on is fucked up. Maybe the more we fucking scratch, the more we rattle the cage, if you will, in the immortal words of Rehab, rattle the cage, fucking maybe, just maybe, somebody at Psychopathic will wake the fuck up. What I'd really like to see, and I'm not going to lie, there's just not enough of Shaggy. There's just not enough of him saying, you know what, Jay, you're fucking wrong. I've heard stories about, I think it was Juggalo Island. Shaggy just wasn't feeling it, and Jay was like, oh no, trust me, after a couple times, then Shaggy finally was like, okay. It's stuff like that. Shaggy sits back sometimes and is like, because Shaggy's persona. He's a wicked motherfucking clown if I ever seen one. You know what I mean? Now, I'm not saying Jay isn't. I'm just saying Jay has lost touch. That's all I'm saying. And I think he needs to get over himself a little bit and say, maybe we could use a little advice from somebody. Maybe we could use a juggalo in here who knows what juggalos want, who wants to try to help this label, who has an investment in it, because no matter what, yeah, I didn't donate $1 million to you guys. I didn't put money behind it. But the time that I've spent talking about Psychopathic, the albums that I've bought, the concerts I've went to, the gatherings I've drove to, all the way from Pennsylvania to fucking Illinois, things like that make me a juggalo, and I'll never, ever, ever be able to get rid of that. It's an investment, a lifetime thing that I'm never going to turn away from. I'm going to be here through thick and through thin, no matter what. If the boat's sinking, I'm still a juggalo. And that goes for every one of you. But I'm not going to sit back here and say, well, okay, I'm a juggalo, and everything's just fine and fucking dandy when I know for sure it's not. It's, like I said, it's time to open up your eyes. Start talking about stuff. Start giving some ideas, some, what do they call it? Creative, constructive criticism. That's what ICP, that's what Psychopathic needs. They need juggalos to be honest. I've said it before. If you can remember a part in the movie, Get Him to the Greek, where not Seth Rogen, you know who I'm talking about, sits down in front of Russell Brand, and they're talking, and he says, be honest with me about African Child. And he said, oh, I love African Child. I love African Child. Then he goes, no, really, you got to be honest with me. So he says his honesty. Now, Russell gets a little pissed off, but he respects him for his honesty. This is my honesty. If I don't get respect from Psychopathic for doing this, then I guess I'm not a juggalo. I guess there's really no love. There's no real bond between us. If I get hate for being realistic and for giving a shit about something I've invested so much time in and something that I love with every ounce of my heart, if I get shit for that, then maybe you're not a juggalo. You know? I don't know what to tell you, but I'm not going to sit here idly by and see something that I love fall. It's not going to happen. I will speak until my voice runs out. I will say everything that's on my mind and let you know exactly how I feel. Some of it, I might end up sticking back in my mouth, okay? I might end up eating some of my fucking words. And I hope I do. Because if that happens, that means Psychopathic has woken the fuck up and they've gotten back on track. But until then, these words, I'm not eating shit. Because this is real shit. Real motherfucking shit from Test Dummy 22. Real fucking talk. Wake up now, juggalos. Start making videos. Start letting people know how you feel. I am going to make a series of videos kind of trying to explain what I think is happening in Psychopathic Records. And stay tuned for that shit. I'm Test Dummy motherfucking 22. Much motherfucking wicked, twisted clown love.